In this video, we're going to explore raising a number to a power where the power is a fraction. So let's remind ourselves how exponents work when the exponent is an integer. So let's say that the base is 10. So 10 to the first power would be 10. 10 squared would be 10 times 10, which is 100. 10 cubed would be 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000, and so on. So when you have a positive number as the exponent, like 1, 2, or 3, and so on, what you do is you take that number of tens and multiply them. So 10 cubed is 1,000 because if you take 3 tens and multiply them together, you get 1,000. And then we learned that we can extend this to 10 to the 0 power. 10 to the 0 power is defined to be 1. And that definition makes sense because it fits the pattern that every time the exponent goes down by 1, the value gets divided by 10. And so it's consistent with that pattern, and then you can keep going to negative numbers. So 10 to the negative 1 power is defined to be 1 over 10. 10 to the negative 2 power is defined to be 1 over 100, and so on. And one of the properties of exponents is that if you have something like 10 to the m power, and you raise that to the nth power, that's going to be 10 to the mn power. Right? That's a property of exponents when m and n are integers. In fact, it's not just true, when the base is 10, it's true for any base. So how do we make sense of something like 10 to the 1/2 power? Well, we haven't defined what that symbol means when the exponent is a fraction. So we're going to talk about how to make sense of this when you have a unit fraction. So unit fraction being something like 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, etc. Well, we would like this property of exponents to apply even when the exponents are fractions. So if it were to apply, then what do you get when you square 10 to the 1/2 power? Well, 1/2 times 2 is 1. So you would get 10 to the first power, and 10 to the first power is 10. So in order for this statement to be true, what needs to happen to this number? When you square it, you have to get 10, right? So if you look at this equation, it says that 10 to the 1/2 power, when you square it, you get 10. And so it's natural to make this symbol, 10 to the 1/2 power, to be the square root of 10, because this is the positive number whose square is equal to 10. And similarly, something like 10 to the 1/3 power must be defined to be the cube root of 10, so that if you take 10 to the 1/3 power and you cube it, the result is going to be 10. Because the cube root of 10 is the number whose cube is 10. So in general, if a is any positive number, then a to the 1/2 power is equal to the square root of a to the 1/3 power is the cube root of a, and in general, a to the 1/n is defined to be the nth root of a. That is the positive number whose nth power is equal to a.